big risk the president took chief of staff. UEW staff files lawsuit seeking to remove Prof. Afo Broni as VC. And Ghana is investment's destination of choice in Africa, according to the Vice President.
Okay, on the front page of the Chronicle, Tor has no working capital, says management, admits 186 million Ghana cedi loss in 4 months. President worried over excessive importation. Wanted Omanhene surrenders to the police, and Frema Opare honored for being the first female chief of staff.
The honoring of Frema Opare is also on the front page of Daily Guide, alongside the president speaking against the former president yesterday. He's also cut the sword for the Kedat tile factory in Shama.
Okay, on the front page of the Junior Graphic, Okankwe North schools in deplorable state. There's also a story in the Junior Graphic, boys and girls should share duties. That's according to Gender Minister, and I'll be bringing you a little bit more on that later on.
The Gold Street business has recent shake-up at GRA justified by 2018 Auditor General's report as a big stamp that says tax evasion. You may want to read that on page 2 of the Gold Street business. Business confidence dampens in June, and SEC earmarks 21 fund managers for possible collapse as 46 of existing 128 firms face major regulatory action. So the financial sector woes are not over.
On the front page of the New Crusading Guide, CID didn't have to interfere in OSP probe. That's according to the CDD. Charles Bishu's exoneration not surprising. That's according to Vitus Azim. The special prosecutor is not a poodle of any political party. That's according to Martin Amadou. And stop shedding crocodile tears, President tells Mahama.
On the Daily Statesman, he's asking Mr. Mahama a question. What did you do to make life better? So I think the sentence follows there. Stop shedding crocodile tears. What did you do to make life better? Yeah. No doomsday under this government, says Ghana Gas. And Frema Opare is speaking again on the front page of the Daily Statesman.
Okay, and finally from me on the front page of the Today newspaper, Tarzan punches Akufo-Addo, and we brought you that interview yesterday on the Super Morning Show. CJ talks tough, and that's it for the Today newspaper.
The Daily Graphic has governments will protect local firms. That's again the president speaking there. And a number of the papers, the stories here have been dealt with already. But civil servants willing to do politics must bow out. That's what the front page of the Daily Graphic says.
Okay, Daniel, so today is also a very important day. It's the 7th anniversary of the death of our former President Atta Mills. And so we remember him fondly for everything that he did for our nation, and also sending congratulations to Boris Johnson, who is the new British Prime Minister, by virtue of being voted as the new leader of the Conservatives. He won by, I think, a margin of about 50,000 votes, and so congratulations to him. Britain has a new Prime Minister. Apparently, he says that he's going to try and sort out the Brexit mess. I don't know if you read.
He doesn't have a choice. He has 3 months to do it.
Well, I don't know if you read the article in The Guardian, you know, where the lady who wrote it said that for him, he has a hard time coordinating his hands to clap. So she doesn't really know how he's going to actually, deal with this
Imagine
issue,
if someone had written about the leader of the governing party like this in Ghana.
I mean, the headline was actually the clown heads the hell something. It's like, I'll pull it up and then.
It's very, very interesting.
Yes,
if an opinion piece like that had gotten, I think there will be a campaign against that media house. Anyway, we are going to Medina Denta before we do anything else. Really good news coming in through the 6 a.m. news as the Accra Region Police is engaging schools, residents, and stakeholders along the Medina Denta Highway this morning as they begin an exercise to arrest and prosecute recalcitrant pedestrians who are not using the footbridge. This comes after yesterday we heard from some school children.
I feel very sad because they think that because crossing the bridge is time consuming, it would be better to cross the road, but it's better to be safe than sorry. So I'd rather advise them to use the footbridge. And that's advice from a child, Daniel. It's better to be safe than sorry. Sapoma, you use the footbridge as well when you're coming to school every day. When you compare the fact, and I'm sure you've heard people say that it's quite a distance, when you compare that to what you have seen, people dying on this road, how does that make you feel?
It's a bit. Yes. I feel that crossing the footbridge is much more safer than crossing the road, because I feel that my safety is more guaranteed on the footbridge than when I'm crossing the road.
So what kind of education was given to you about using the footbridge?
Oh, the fact that crossing the footbridge is much better than crossing the road because people's lives are at risk most of the time when they cross the road.
Are you guys a little bit scared when you're crossing?
Yes.
Okay, so you heard them, Daniel, they're a little bit scared when they're crossing, as was I, to be honest. But the lesson still resounds, it's better to be safe than sorry. I have Hackman as well. Hackman, how do you feel about the adults who are using the road? Even as we stand here, we can see some of them trying to cross. How does that make you feel?
It's very bad because it can easily make them lose their lives. All the cars are passing, even with the presence of the traffic lights, there are stuff that are okay. So I will urge them to stop doing that.
Great. So please listen to Hackman if you are a resident of the area or you are tempted to use the road instead of the footbridge when crossing. This morning we will hear from Nana Ntakwa because he made a very passionate appeal on Monday. During that's my opinion that look, if we really want good citizens, we have to make them. They are not born. Good citizens are made. And so this morning, we will be adding our voice to that clarion call as we encourage you to do the right thing. Of course, we'll also touch base with the police there as they embark on this project to ensure that persons who do not use a footbridge are punished. But let's stay with roads anymore.
Yes. Indeed. So we know that the work on the Lekma Hospital Road has resumed. I would have said it has begun, but the Ghanaian Times is reporting it as having resumed. Yes, I know. Anyway, so we know that the 17 million Ghana cedis has been released by the government, and so that the work can start. We know that there was a debt of 5 million, which apparently has been paid now. So now that this 17 million has been released, the work has started. The contractors, Messias DSR Limited, have started with the first base works. They're hoping that they'll be able to finish that in 3 months, and then after that they'll do the asphalt overlay. The Roads and Highways Minister, I'm sure you've heard him if you've been listening to us, has talked about the fact that by 2020 he expects that the roads will be done, and about the fact that it's not just that road, they're focusing on a lot of other roads. And also he spoke about the fact that the media is important, and if we want information, we should come to his ministry and get as much information that we need. I find that interesting. I tried to call him so many times coming up to the work that we had gone there to do, and it was very, very difficult to reach him, but I will take him up on that because I have a lot of questions for him, and we'll definitely be watching that space because we know how important this road is, Daniel. It's leading to a major hospital. We've told all the stories, the pregnant women, the people who are dying on that road, the people who are having accessibility issues, and so we're going to follow through and make sure that we do our part in being the watchmen of that road. But more good news when it comes to that Bibloshi Market Road, which was meant to be dualized. Well, work is starting on there as well. Construction has begun apparently. So this road runs all the way from the Central Mosque at Aboso Kind to the Timber Market at Arena Accra. It was constructed in 1981, but it hasn't seen any facelift, so resulting in a very deplorable state. The Minister of Roads and Highways, again, Mr. Kwesi Amoakwata, has cut the sword for the works to begin on the 2.5 kilometer road. Apparently it's going to take 12 months. So we're in July. So next year, July. So let's just say August. So next year, August, it should be done. It's being done by Justmo Ghana Limited, a local construction firm.
That's more.
Yes.
I went to school with his sons. Good morning, Mr. Justice Amo.
Well, there you go then. A local construction firm. However, the cost of the project has not been disclosed as of yet.
Why?
We don't know. So,
I'm curious as to why it's taking 12 months because the 7.5 kilometer stretch that's the Tishi link.
It's taking 6 months.
It's taking 6.
Yes, but this one is taking 12 months.
Anyway, we don't know which stage they are starting from with the
Exactly.
Agbogbloshie Road.
But the nice thing now is that the minister has said that he will be speaking to us, and so we will be able to get all this information.
Mr. Minister, can you come tomorrow?
That would be very nice,
would be
wouldn't
very
it? Yes.
nice,
So,
wouldn't
so
it?
we'll be calling you so that we can get some clarity on some of these questions that we have about the roads.
Awesome. Let's move from the road conversation to a not so good conversation anymore because this controversy that has been going on in the Disco traditional area concerning the chiefs there. There has been a border dispute between the Upper Disco Paramountcy and the Lower Disco Paramountcy that saw the kidnapping of the Lower Disco regent or the Lower Disco chief Nana Kwesi Agyeman and some 4 others. They were kidnapped and they were assaulted allegedly. Police have linked it to the Upper Discove Paramount Chief, that's Obrimpo Himadechi, the 15th, and they were on a manhunt for him as of Monday. However, Obrimpo himself turned himself into the police on around 5 p.m. on Monday, and the 4 others involved Justice Cromo, who is a farmer, Thomas Quayson, a carpenter, Paul Stevens, an electrician, and Christopher Bonney, all from the Upper Discove area and believed to be co-conspirators, were picked up by the police. Now, Obrimpo Himadechi has been granted bail, and so he even spoke to us yesterday. He has been speaking to some acts of violence he claims were visited on some of his subjects in the Upper Discove traditional area, which occasioned what they are calling a retaliatory attack. However, he says he is not involved in any way. He doesn't know how Nana Kwesi Agyeman and the 4 others ended up in his palace. He was not there. Unfortunately, some damage was visited on persons' properties, including the PDS's property power distribution service. Some 2 electric poles were set on fire, and so they were unable to render their services to the people of Lower Discove in the area at the time. And so the manager there, a Hunter West District Manager, Mr. George Amwa, said the situation has serious financial implications for the company and its inability to serve customers, and it has also resulted in a loss of revenue. So we still have our eyes on there, but trust me, this is a long-standing dispute that has run between these 2 persons. What's occasioned this one, according to information from Obrimpo Himadechi, was he says that Nana Kwesi Agyeman unlawfully tried to install a chief in one of the communities where a landing lease committee has been formed. He says that community already has a chief who swears allegiance to him, Obrimpo Himadechi. So that this will be a second chief. And we are seeing a lot of seconds.
So I was just going to say with the UEW.
Exactly. I'll be bringing you details of that story very shortly. The Vice Chancellor of that area also is being threatened. Let's go now to Schledom.
Okay, so Daniel, I don't know if you remember growing up, there was this story that was told to us about treating people fairly. And so there was a mother, and then there was a woman who had come into a marriage, and she had come with children, and all the children in the house, so her children and then her husband's children, had gotten this disease, yaws. Do you remember that story? So she treated her children very nicely and didn't actually treat the disease, but in her thinking that she was being wicked to her stepchildren, she actually cured them. That is possibly the only time that I have heard about yours story. But the thing is that yours is it kind of was almost.
I always read it as yours.
Okay, right. It was kind of almost eradicated between 1950 and 1970. It was pretty much, the prevalence was decreased by 95%. But from 2005, there have been about 26,000 cases in Ghana. Now, the thing about it is that it's a bacterial disease. A simple injection will cure it. And 10% of people who do not get the treatment for it will have disfigurements in their body. Unfortunately, there's an outbreak here in Ghana. So in a town called Chiledom, there's a farming community. All the children there, Daniel, 50% of the adults in that area, and only a negligible amount of children in that area don't have it. So almost all the children in that area are reported to have yours. Now, what's happening is that...
What percentage again did you say have the disease?
I said 50% of adults.
Adults?
Yes.
Oh, okay, and almost
all the children, yes, have it in the area. So apparently a sample of water from so they have a borehole, which is the main source of drinking water for the community. They've taken that sample and they found out that, yes, the bacteria lives in there. Now, what has happened is that when they fetch the water is full of worms. So they're saying that they have to put it down for the worms to settle to the bottom before they can actually use it. And so what they're doing is that they're also adding a lot of salt water, hot salt. So they're boiling it with salt to try to make it potable,
so
but it's not working.
Safe water.
It's about safe water. It's also about personal hygiene. It's about safe water. It's about personal hygiene.
About the safe water because anymore you will be shocked about the water that some people drink. You know, Joynice is currently doing a safe water project, and we went to this Amanguti Deke in the Volta region. Anymore, the water. It looks like water in a gutter. It looks like water in a puddle. And in front of us, people were drinking it. I was shocked. I was hosting Midday News at the time and I saw the picture. I cringed. I almost couldn't read the next.
They were drinking it straight from
straight from the stream. It looks like puddle water. I won't lie to you. You won't use the water to wash your hands. I'm telling you. They were drinking it. So as for the safe water problem in this country, no wonder extinct diseases are chasing us. Diseases that were supposed to have been extinct when 1970, right?
Between 1950 and
1970, before both of us were born.
In most
arguably.
Very funny. It's been eradicated in most of the world, actually. Yeah.
That's why they are chasing them, because people don't have safe water to drink. Of course, a point has to be made for the hygiene of the area. The people also have to be hygienic. It's important to have one, but really, water to drink.
A lot of it is really just the water
to drink. It shouldn't be hard. Anyway, let's come to the University of Education, Winneba. A lot of drama on campus yesterday.
Yes.
Okay, so let me quickly run you through what has happened there from 2017. Very, very quickly. Now, Professor Malta-Avoke was a vice chancellor then. He was dragged to court for some procurement breaches which were not supposed to be above ground. The High Court then asked Professor Malta-Avoke to step aside. The IOCO started investigating those alleged procurement breaches, as far as we know. Now, that's just a very, very quick recap. Reverend Professor Afol Broni was sworn in or was invested as Vice Chancellor. Now, Professor Malta-Avoke went to campus yesterday because he says he's been cleared of the allegations which were leveled against him by IOCO. He has been cleared by IOCO of the allegations which were leveled against him. And he has since April also tried to impress upon Reverend Professor Afol Broni to step aside as Vice Chancellor, because now, if he's been cleared of the allegations, naturally means that he can come back and serve as Vice Chancellor. So Reverend Professor Afol Broni was not following those directives, and so he filed a restraining order against him in court yesterday to stop him from holding himself as Vice Chancellor. After filing the restraining order, he went straight to campus to say that, look, since there's a restraining order filed against you, I can come back and resume work as Vice Chancellor. He was going to hold a news conference within the chamber of the council of the university. The police from Winneba went there, spoke to him, asked him to step out. So he went outside and did the news conference from there. We spoke to the president of UTAG on campus, Dr. Frimpong K. Duku, who told us on the show on Top Story last night with Evans Mentor that the Professor Malta-Avoke will go back to campus today. Today we'll be speaking to the Member of Parliament for the area, Alexander Penyo-Markin. We'll tell you more about that. We'll be following that story very, very keenly here on the Super Morning Show. But that's in a nutshell, what the story has become. It has come so far. Let's go to this. It sounds like a courtesy for boys and girls.
The boys and girls story. No. It's actually it's a very interesting story which caught my eye. So apparently the trend towards gender balance in workforce is reflected in housekeeping chores. Who would have thought? Apparently,
charity begins at home.
No, not just that, but a lot more women are actually going into the workforce because their household chores are reducing because the men are participating.
Beautiful.
Which is very, very interesting. So, 80% of women across the world. This is a study that was done by the University of British Columbia between 1986 and 2015. 80% of women in the world have entered the workforce, as opposed to 90% is still higher. But the women entering into the workforce is a sharp rise, and from those who didn't. The other interesting thing about this is that work-family conflict has shown that work-family conflict is very, very high when there's unequal involvement in household chores. So I'm making a case for household chores and men this morning, but it's based on the premise. The gender minister was speaking and she was saying that boys and girls should share duties. So as we're raising our children, we should be conscious of raising them in specific gender roles, and the fact that the traditional roles are changing, getting our boys to be more involved in housework. Yes.
Which chore did you do as a child?
Oh, I was a little bit per so I wasn't really household.
Hey, anyone?
No, it's true. I learned. No.
Anyone, which name one chore? She can't. I've turned off her mic. It's okay. There's 6 minutes to the top of the hour. We're going to do the online. Hey, Lima, I didn't do chore. Even me, I was the last of 5 children. Even me, I did chores.
I was the last of 4.
Yeah, but there were a lot. But still, me, I did chores. You didn't do. Hey. The online news review is brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest. And Goil Good Energy. Make your day productive by relying on quality fuel from Goil. Your 3-time CIMG Petroleum Company of the Year. Goil Super XP and Diesel XP are activated to enhance strong engine performance and prolong the lifespan of your vehicle. Above all, you are guaranteed extra quality with a fuel analyzer from our mobile laboratory van. Get your money's worth every day by buying fuel and lubricants from any of Goil's about 360 service stations nationwide. And experience good energy. Buy Goil, grow Ghana. Goil, good energy. Goil, Yenara, Yedia. Now, when it comes to traveling with ease and comfort, Zenith Bank's wide array of MasterCard and Visa cards will help you do just that. You can conveniently use your Zenith MasterCard and Visa cards at over 33 million Visa and MasterCard branded ATMs worldwide, on the internet for online purchases and payments, in shop for payments of goods and services at all Zenith Bank ATMs, and on local and international POS or retail outlets that accept Visa and MasterCard. Sign up today, or if you already have one, use the Zenith MasterCard and Visa cards for a great travel experience. Go light with Zenith Bank. It's faster and smarter. Zenith Bank, in your best interest. Now, imagine a funeral finance plan that puts you in control from the start. That's what the Enterprise Funeral Finance Plan Unlimited does. With the Enterprise Funeral Finance Plan Unlimited, you have no limits and no restrictions. You are free to choose your premiums, policy lifespan, beneficiaries, and even your benefits. No age restrictions and no lapse. Sign up for the Enterprise Funeral Finance Plan Unlimited today for your own good. Enterprise, your advantage. Amidu lashes out at Yawabing Asama. Look, I read Martin Amidu's latest epistle against Yawabing Asama. It was very, very hard-tongued, if I can use that. Sharp-tongued, if I can use that expression. MyJournalline.com has that story. You want to go and read that. Take further legal actions to entrench freedom. Tarzan Tegeba and others. Remember, we'll be hearing from Kwesi Pratt on the recent attacks on journalists as well on the Super Morning Show. You want to stay with us for that conversation. The BBC.com has Gambian ex-soldier says Gambian soldier, says ex-president ordered him to kill migrants. This is big. This is big. The 50 migrants, you know who the 50 migrants, they were Ghanaians. Yes. They were from, this is serious. If there is this sort of, then we must be hearing about it. Anyway, maybe the BBC News will carry more of it. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
As an